Hi guys, I'm back and I'm looking this time at the visual learning. So hopefully you watched the visual learning video already. If you haven't, you can take a look at page 476 in your packet. And I'm going to jump down to the convince me at the bottom of the page. So if you have already done the solve and share, hopefully, and you watched the solve and share video, you know I said that we can sometimes use models to solve these problems, but there are also ways to do it without the model. So while I'm going to show you the model, I don't want you to think that you always have to do it, because realistically, you're not going to always sit and draw a model. The model's good when we're first learning how to do it so that we can visually see why things are working. But after we know how to do it, we can just use the multiplication method. Okay, so the first thing I want to tell you is, if you remember when we did decimals, like I said in the previous video, a lot of people had some confusions when we were going to the grids and we started overlapping colors. So it's going to be the same thing. Hopefully, now that we've had practice with the decimals, when we do it now with the fractions, it makes a little bit more sense. So if you look at the problem on the bottom, they want us to find 1/4 times 1/5. So 1/4 times 1/5. And I did those in different colors on purpose because when we go to do the overlap, I want to make sure that I have them in those two different colors so I can see where they actually overlap. So it says that I should use the area model and explain my work. So the first thing I'm going to look at is I have a 1/4 and a 1/5. So I can see already that this side, the long side, is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. That's going to be my fifths. My 4 is going to be going this way. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1/4 of this whole is this piece. That's one of the 4 rows. Okay, when I go the other direction, I'm now looking at fifths. This one's broken up into, remember, 5 columns. So when I shade that one in, I'm going to shade here. So I've now shaded in one of the 5 columns. And then my answer to this question then is the section where those two overlap each other. So the only box that has both blue and orange in it is this box up here. So I have one box out of how many total boxes in the grid? Well, if it's 5 per row, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. So my answer is going to be 1/20. Now, if you look at the actual problem down here, and I'm not using the grid this time, think about what we've been doing for the first couple of lessons. We said we're just multiplying everything straight across. So if I multiply 1 times 1, I get 1. If I multiply 4 times 5, I get 20. That's where my 1/20 comes from. Again, just a visual so you can kind of get the idea of why your number is smaller when you're multiplying fractions, because again, it's 1/4 of 1/5. So it's a piece of the 1/5, and it's 1/5 of 1/4, because remember, I can turn them around. 1/4 times 1/5 is the same as 1/5 times 1/4. Okay, hope that was a little bit easier to understand now that we had already done that with decimals. Okay, I'm going to go over to the next page on 477, and if you look at another example at the top, find 2/3 times 3/4 using a number line. So they are showing us 1/3 means 1 of 3 equal parts. So 1/3 of 3/4 is 1/4. So if you look at the number line that they have in front of you, you can kind of follow along with me. 2/3 means 2 of 3 equal parts. So 2/3 of 3/4 is 2 times 1/4. And 2/3 times 3/4 equals 2/4, simplified down to 1/2. So again, it's another model that you can look at, just written in a different way. So this time the model is done as a number line. You can also use the grid. Okay, in the